How's it going, everyone? Sorry for the bit of a loud intro, but we have a really special guest today from the Binance Smart Chain community. Sammy, how's it going, man?
Doing good, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and it's amazing to have you on here. For those who don't know, Sammy does ecosystem development at Binance Smart Chain, and we thought we'd have a special guest on today for our Traders to Gamers series to take a step back and look at the entire ecosystem of what's going on with GameFi, NFT gaming on the Binance Smart Chain. Sammy, what are your current outlook on GameFi, and how is kind of the Binance Smart Chain community looking to help GameFi flourish?
Yeah, I mean the whole GameFi trend is just is seeing explosive growth right now. I think even historically we've always had a quite a high focus on gaming because we really see it as one of the key drivers for crypto adoption, which is ultimately everything that we're doing is kind of centered around that, is bringing new users to crypto. I think DeFi had its time where that was super attractive. There was a lot of user interest in that, especially new user interest, trying to figure out what DeFi is about. And that kind of also led a little bit to a bit of the growth in that we've seen in GameFi, where we've seen a lot of the games that integrate staking and other elements of DeFi there. Um, but I think generally it has a more broader appeal. So it's like users, of course, gamers generally are like massive total addressable market, billions of gamers worldwide. But if we look at where crypto gaming is today, it's kind of like a small percentage of that, but it's growing a lot. So if you look at like the current versions of GameFi and games that leverage open economies and crypto within their games. There's quite a lot of variety there, and we've seen huge growth in, for sure, Axie Infinity's growth has been extremely well documented and has a very large and growing user base. Um, and that's kind of gotten the attention of, like, let's say, the traditional and non-crypto game audiences as well. So for sure we're seeing growth across the board in terms of the types of games, the different kind of economies being built, because it has also offers like quite a broad design space for game designers as well, which I think adds a lot to the attraction. um, so overall, we're doing a number of things to really create the infrastructure and environment for game developers to be able to experiment, but also uh, after deployment scale from a user perspective. So in terms of the different types of support, funding is definitely one of them. We have a quite aggressive focus from investment and funding perspective to support the best game developers and teams building out games in crypto. But I think more than that is from the infrastructure perspective. So developers who are building games today really understand the challenges from an infrastructure perspective. So that's an area that we've been also investing really heavily to provide reliable, robust, and scalable infrastructure for game developers there. We've seen a lot of games that had like very explosive growth, very rapid increase in daily, weekly active users, transaction volume growth across all of the different metrics. And that's where
Definitely.
kind of infrastructure becomes quite challenging.
Yeah, and I think that's incredibly important there. Something um, that is instantly coming up to my mind is when Crypto Blades was seeing massive adoption. And so it's already apparent that infrastructure is going to need to be a main focus as these games continue to bring in users. So it's incredibly important and exciting to see it that the Binance Smart Chain community is recognizing these things and trying to find out solutions, because kind of touching on your earlier point, GameFi, it's a much more seamless way of onboarding users. There's so many gamers out there already. And just having a fun play to earn game that has a little bit of learning curve is a lot easier for a lot of new users compared to jumping into this brand new, for lack of better terms, financial product where they're learning how to stake, about liquidity pools, versus executing very similar mechanisms and mechanics, interacting with smart contracts, using a Web3 wallet, doing all those things while playing a game. it makes it a lot more enjoyable and fun for the users. So I definitely see how this is a great way to get people into crypto. And I just wanted to add that on before we got too far into what's going on with funding, the project specifically Binance Smart Chain is working with currently, and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. So I think definitely we see that. So I think like in terms of the types of games as well and the types of users that they will attract is also quite varied. So like you look at the more GameFi or like gaming and DeFi games right now that you like users have to access those games via MetaMask or Web3 wallet, and they're like custodying their own keys. There's like staking involved, but on the so those are like more for, let's say, crypto native users or users that kind of have a more steeper learning curve for the new users especially. But then on the other side you've got games where they have they're crypto games, but users don't really know that there's crypto there, like they don't have to custody their own keys. There's a lot of good tooling um, now for users that are more familiar with the Web 2.0 experience. So it's just like email login or like login and password. The keys are like, there's a number of really good uh, uh, tools that allow games to leverage these kind of experiences for users, and everything just happens on the in the background, like under the hood. Users don't need to know, and sometimes don't even care what chain is running, or even if it's on a blockchain. They just
Yeah.
care about the end result. Like they can take their game assets and sell them in open marketplaces, trusted marketplaces.
Yeah, and that's sort of like the next or the other side of the coin here, just for gamers in general. I played a decent amount of games growing up, and having an open economy is just massive in gaming. Real world trading is something that always goes on in games, and it's unavoidable, even though all these companies crack down on it. And then seeing things like the Steam marketplace, which are a little bit closer to an open marketplace, but then jumping into crypto and DeFi and now seeing actual tokenomic structures behind the games with a entire open marketplace, it makes games a lot more enticing, and it bridges a gap that a lot of users are looking for anyway. Even with games, Epic Games, Riot Games, everyone cracking down on real world trading type of things, it still goes on in the background. So to have it facilitated in an open, trustless, and permissionless way is really a next step. So there's two sides of the coin here. It's really cool for a lot of gamers, and then it's also great for the crypto industry as well.
That's really why I think gaming is like the perfect industry to be disrupted there, because gamers naturally understand digital asset ownership very well. But there's also like tons of stories about these games that have these closed marketplaces, closed economies, where the rules change, and they have changed a lot. Like they've been changed at any time, and like gaming is like kind of a passionate subject for a lot of people. Like they invest a lot of their time and emotions there, and like end up building up what they believe is like kind of value, like a very valuable collection of assets inside the game. They start investing more and more like time and emotionally, and then ultimately the rules change can be quite devastating for people. So I think gamers really understand the benefits and value of having these trusted open economies for games, and that's going to drive a lot of adoption from more like, let's say, non-crypto gamers as well, coming into once they start realizing what these benefits are going to be like.
Yeah, 100%. And just to dive in a little bit more, I have the September monthly stars pulled up, and there's a specific GameFi category there. Of course, Mobox was a part of the last MVB, if I'm remembering correctly.
They
And
were.
this time around, yep. And this time around, you're seeing tons of good marketplaces, NFTs popping up. And just from the list here, we have Zoo Crypto World, Radio Kaka, Thaden Arena, uh, Bunicorn, I believe, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Mix Marvel. So this is just like a small intersection of the games that are building right now. And I know there's probably a ton going on with ecosystem development and on top of that. So I don't know where you want to jump from here, but I just thought that having a specific sector for MVB and incubating these games is really interesting and a good step for bringing users to Binance Smart Chain.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely want to recognize there's a large number of teams today building games on BSC. Some of them are already live and have like very good and growing traction, but there's an even larger number of games that are like in development. So we expect that to continue to grow a lot, like the number of games, the diversity of games, and with that will bring a ton of new users. And I'm fairly convinced about that. But having like a dedicated focus for the MVB, we're going to continue to expand upon that as well. So expect a lot more stuff happening in terms of focus, funding, and everything else for the gaming sector on BSC and more broadly as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's just really important that you guys aren't just helping these games in one aspect. I'm already seeing there's some portion of liquidity being set aside for these games, which is incredibly important. Having an open marketplace is cool, but if there's no volume or no liquidity behind it, there will be some issues. So ensuring that's behind in the ecosystem. And then something else that just kind of outlining what Binance Smart Chain has going on. You guys are also doing a GameFi Expo as well. And this is granting users an amazing way to kind of learn about these games and also earn at the same time. I know Dragonary, Mobox, and DSG Metaverse, I'm reading here on the release, are all teamed up together and doing over a $60,000 airdrop. So that's another amazing event, kind of showcasing where and how the Binance Smart Chain is starting to incubate these GameFi projects. And I'm curious, what is sort of your favorite outlook coming up for these games or improvements going on your end of the ecosystem?
Yeah, so we're always thinking about ways of how we can connect the community best with new games, give them more exposure to different games. There's a lot of games out now, and there's even more coming. But we want to create these type of platforms that give the community more access and more visibility to them through these platforms. I think one of the things that I'm most excited about is just the variety of games coming online. So if you look now, like a lot of them, there's kind of like in similar themes or domains. But I think the type of games coming out that are going to be catering for much broader tastes in terms of game preferences, game types, is going to be, I think, super interesting for the whole community. And for users to get involved with a lot more different types of games, more suited to their own preferences and game types and styles.
Yeah, and it really sounds like as the space is starting to grow, you're seeing games like Axie, even games like Crypto Blades, Mobox, they're starting to have funding that is rivaling some bigger game developing studios. And I think what this really means is we're so early in the sector now. It is very common to see a lot of the same games. I'm seeing a lot of kind of RPG games, but they're web-based, pretty bare bones. A lot are based on kind of dice roll type systems, and there's not too much user interaction. This is something I'm finding with Mobox, and it's not necessarily saying, oh, it's a bad game. It's just depending on someone's suited taste. Like I'm having a ton of fun with Mobox in the sense of figuring out what skills are the best and sort of where to min max all these stats, but that's not kind of everyone's flavor that they're looking for in a game. And as this funding starts to come in and we are seeing people really jump on this development, I think it's only going to get more exciting from here what we see coming out. If within 6 to 8 months in the space, some of the earliest players have been, we're already seeing kind of complete mobile games, desktop browser games that are competing with very large app store games, but actually incentivizing users. So what is to come, I think, is really exciting, seeing all this funding and the hype around the sector, considering how new it is.
I think it's going to be a similar kind of thing to what we've seen with kind of institutional adoption for DeFi. We'll see a similar trend with the traditional game developers, the big names, many of them you mentioned. We're already seeing that today. So we see like some really big name studios that are spinning up either very dedicated crypto-focused games or pivot completely to focus on developing crypto games. So Gala Games is a very good example of that. So Gala Games, maybe the audience doesn't know, but the founder, Eric, was previously co-founder of Zynga, and now is
Okay.
focusing 100% on Gala Games, which is crypto games. They have a large pipeline of games that are coming out soon. And then you have others which are doing small experiments that haven't gone all in the same way that Gala has. Um, and we'll start building out some crypto games, start testing what the market demand is. And then you have on the other side of the spectrum, like Steam, for example, which is trying to go against the trend and trying to like resist in some ways. We'll see how that plays out, but that kind of opens up opportunities for other developers that are other game studios to kind of come and fill in that market demand as well. So I think that kind of trend in terms of crypto adoption from gaming more generally is following that similar trend that happened in the institutional space for crypto more generally.
Definitely. And I think it's just really exciting how novel this space is and really tying in and incentivizing users with an open marketplace. And just the common theme and where the trend seems to be going is that there's only going to be more innovation coming into the space. I know there's definitely a ton more demand for these type of things, both on the end of um, really robust developers and also the users want these games as well. So between those two things and having the actual funding and support, not only from the Binance Smart Chain end, but from the market itself, I think is incredibly important. I don't know if there's anything really big you want to touch on, kind of to wrap up our discussion. I know a little bit of what we wanted to do was jump into the Mobox Block Brawler and just kind of check out what's going on there because it is interesting, see what's being built right now and actually just talking you through a little bit, showing you the game. I've spent like a week on the platform. Not to say I know everything, but starting to learn the ins and outs of it. And it can be a little bit fun from time to time.
Yeah, I don't have any specific big updates to share. I think like the main thing is that we have a reiterate, we have a huge focus on the gaming space. We have a lot of things in the pipeline, work in progress in terms of funding announcements, in terms of infrastructure, across all of the areas really. So I think there's a lot of exciting things coming. We'll encourage the community to stay tuned and on all of the channels on BSC News, on the Binance Chain, Binance Smart Chain, Twitter, and Telegram channels. Keep up to date with the latest updates happening in the ecosystem.
Yeah. And I think that's amazing. Just keeping up with the sector, the updates that are going on and the innovation that's coming in is amazing. I mean, just the other day, we're seeing traditional, and this is across all chains, not just Binance Smart Chain, which is honestly a good sign, but we're seeing gaming companies kind of cross into this intersection as well. Something pretty big that I saw a lot of buzz about the past couple of days was Corsair partnering with Elamon, other things going on, even on Solana, which is great to see that gaming as an entire sector is respecting crypto. FTX partnering with the Aurora GameFi project. So it seems like this is a kind of trend across all of crypto. And seeing that Binance Smart Chain is taking a direct stance and focusing on this trend is only going to make it better. And I see we do have some kind of people that have been joining me for this series in chat. Don't Savor, Limbo Drones. How's it going, guys? We're going to jump into just some basic Mobox gameplay here. Sammy, let me know if you're having any issues following along. I threw the screen up here on the stream. What we're starting with here is, as we've talked about, sort of this open marketplace idea here where you have tons of Momo NFTs that are on the marketplace and able to be bought and sold using BUSD, which is something, of course, like we were talking about, isn't really seen in too many traditional games. A unique spin here is that you can actually rent some of these Momos too. And this is a pretty novel concept that you can lend and rent NFTs. But the point behind this is through holding the Momo NFTs, you're able to earn hash power or rewards in the actual games itself. So Mobox has two games, Block Brawler and Token Master. And holding these NFTs allows you to get access to extra rewards. They call it hash power. And you can earn in-game items through holding the NFTs. And that's really the key to progressing, getting some basic rare NFTs, even common ones, just to boost up your earning while you're outside of the game. And just to clue you in a little bit more here, Sammy, I'm just going to go ahead and filter these by rare, because that's kind of what's currently in the price range for this challenge. And then just sorting by looking for the cheapest one. You obviously want to look for the deals here. I think what I did is just looked for the most expensive. So here you are. You can see some of the rare NFTs. I'm actually going to filter by epic. That's what I meant to do. So what you can see here is they just have their hash power up here, and this is pretty much their strength. So my 2 NFTs that I had rented out have just expired. So I'm actually going to go and pick a couple more here. So just looking at the page here, I'm not looking for anything in specific, just maybe around 1,000 hash power. And potentially with some gems as well. So not seeing anything with gems here except this Momo, and he's a bit expensive. So, and just to back up, I know, Sammy, you're probably a bit overwhelmed with information here. The gems just apply extra in-game boosts. They're not necessary, but they are pretty important. But just to make this process pretty simple, we are on this first screen here. I think one of these bottom 3 would be cool to rent out. Is there any one of these that stands out to you in specific, Sammy?
The Hulk guy looks pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome. That's definitely the Hulk, not Frankenstein. So I'm going to jump in here, and you can see these NFTs do get a little bit pricey, 7.5 BUSD for a day. I am going to go ahead and rent this one out for 5 days. And this is just a simple transaction here. And what this will do is get us some nice in-game rewards here for the new Mobox season, and hopefully get us on the leaderboard. And
this is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I haven't seen this one before. Super informative.
Yeah, and it's really interesting here how there's multiple strategies, right? If you hold the Momos and you don't want to play the games, you can lend them out to people. If you are not quite to the point where you want to own Momos, or maybe you can't own ones as rare as you'd like, which is the case I am, and you really want to try to grind out the game, you can come and lend them. Or if this is something that you really enjoy, you have the startup investment, you can just come get the Momos you'd like and play the games in essence for free every week and earn rewards once you already have the underlying NFTs. I'm going to go ahead and pick up another one really quick here, and then we'll just jump right into the game, see if there's not anything. Just going to pick up this Spider-Man here, 5 days as well. And so we are now finding ourselves pretty deep into the series. Just for a small update, we've now spent about $350 at the beginning of this series. And unfortunately, we haven't earned quite much of anything, which is one reason why I really like doing this series, to kind of give an insight of what's going on. And maybe you're thinking, okay, a play to earn game where you didn't earn anything, is this quite a good play to earn game? And my answer is still definitely yes. And I'll dive into that right now. Part of the reason is I just didn't know the game and didn't know what was good and what I wanted to upgrade. But if you actually jump onto the leaderboard here, you can see what actual players are earning. So there's over kind of 900 leaderboard spots. So each one of these leaderboards has 300 users, and it's categorized by hero levels. So you have the Ice Desert, the Void Netherfield, and the Arena of Legends. And the way this works is all these leaderboard spots will fill out with 900 users. And then those top 900 users will be able to split these Mobox rewards that reset every season. So if we look here, there's 94,000 Mobox rewards currently ready to go for this season, with an average price of about $4 per Mobox, And so that means that there's $40,000 of Mobox rewards, just shy of that, that will be given out to users this season. So what that looks like is if you are able to land somewhere, let's say you land halfway on the leaderboard, and And just for reference there, I landed at rank 500 this my first time playing with a $200 investment. If I was able to land around the top 100 in this area, I would be earning anywhere from about $100 to $200, and it ramps up as you sort of climb the leaderboard. So someone at the top of the leaderboard, maybe top 25, and this might be someone who has their build figured out, their items, they're earning closer to upwards of $500 for this season, and the season runs for a little over a week. So kind of what I'm seeing here is there's a ton of rewards that are being given out to a lot of users. Not only do these 900 users have a chance of winning rewards, but there's also the dungeon as well, which is another aspect of the game. And there's just as many rewards being given out here, as you can see. So there's multiple outlets to earn these rewards for a total of about 40,000. And these rewards also don't take account into what people are spending. So 60% of what everyone spends goes back into these rewards. I think last season we saw 160,000 of Mobox rewards paid out, or close to 70,000 of USD. So overall, there's a ton of rewards being paid out of this game. The trick is you just got to know sort of what you want to be building, the characters you're playing. And that's a lot of what I learned last season. But also kind of that learning curve is what held me back on the leaderboard. So I think it's really interesting seeing like the raw amount of rewards that are being offered and incentivizing users for this type of game.
That's super cool. So I think that learning curve is kind of like everybody has to go through it. It's kind of part of the fun in a way, and kind of
Exactly.
also give people that competitive advantage over others.
Yeah. And the best part about this is you don't have to jump in and splurge on the game and kind of get destroyed by the learning curve as I did. You can jump in and actually start playing Block Brawler for free, start getting an idea of the mechanics and the aspects of the game before you actually start investing into a platform like this. So that's really cool. And a big part of the series was also just giving people the insight of what it looks like from a new player, my perspective, and sort of giving them a more risk-free outlet. So with that said, I'm just going to jump into some of the brief mechanics here, outline the battle, mining, exchange, skills, and hero. And then I know you'll want to check out a couple battles, but then after that, probably jump off, but at least give you kind of a holistic view of the platform and see what's going on here, because outside of that, it does get a bit grindy. So just to start, the reason we bought our Momos is for this mining page here. So if you check it out, we're earning 650 gold, 3 pieces of gear, and 2 pieces of skill every 5 minutes. You can see the skill points and the gold accruing here. I'm going to go ahead and claim that. You can also see the 2 Momos we have here as well that we rented inside of the app. And you're asking, okay, what's the gold for? What's the gear for? What's the skill for? And this is really the nitty gritty of the game, where users need to figure out what skills they want to be learning and the hero they want and how they're going to upgrade them. I already have the Shadow Assassin chosen here from last season. And so this is kind of, we'll start with the skills because there is a lot of information here. So you can see there is 4 different skill trees, and they all do something a little bit different. So these ones are specific hero attacks. These ones are hero attacks, but they tend to have more sort of debuffs and buffs. So you can see this does attack damage to the enemy and taunts the enemy for 3 seconds. So kind of like crowd control. This one confuses enemies for 2 seconds. And this is where the game gets complex, right? Look at all of these skills, and you have to really think about which one is going to be the most important and what you're going to use. Something that's incredibly popular, and I'll just go ahead and learn a couple of these skills to get the series started. I'm not sure if these are the holy grail, of course, but I found they're pretty strong, is these mercenaries. So what this is it spawns in other characters, and they actually go and help you fight. So I'm going to pick up some of these skills that I found in last season that were good. I really like skills that do attack damage to the enemy with the highest attack, which means their hero. You don't find yourself sort of attacking the wrong enemy. So I'm going to go ahead and learn this skill here, and you can see it pops into my skill tree. I'm also going to learn, let's see, there's one more. It's a very similar skill. It's actually this one up here. This one does attack damage to the enemy with the highest attack. And so this is just a raw skill that does a ton of damage. That's why I like it. So I learned that one too. You can see they're filing into the slots. Another thing I found incredibly powerful was a mercenary who, okay, cool, we have two that do attack damage. Well, now we want one that heals. So I'm going to pick up this reversal magic skill, and this allows me to apply a heal. And also, if enemies attack me, I will heal the damage that they attacked instead of actually taking the damage. So I'm going to go ahead and learn this one, and also learn this one as well, because I think the reverse shield is pretty important. And actually, you can see something I just messed up on. If you check the skill position here, you can only have certain skills in certain positions. So I've already filled up my 4, 5, and 6 slot. So this last skill I just learned I won't be able to use. So this is kind of that learning curve I'm talking about, Sammy, where you learn a skill and you're like, oh, wait, I can't use the skill. So this is pretty much the reason for the series, letting me make the mistakes, let the users learn so they can jump on the leaderboard and kind of catch these things earlier on. So just to get past the skill points, because obviously you're not going to kind of jump on and instantly know what the best is. Another skill I like is this one just does raw damage to the attacking enemy. I really like that skill. It makes sure you're getting damage down in the right places. Another thing I will get is a heal, like an actual heal skill that applies a reverse shield. So this will heal my 3 lowest units and apply that same reverse shield. All enemy damage will be converted into health. And you can see that this here is going to filter into my second slot. And now I just need one more skill. And I'm going to get a mercenary that stands in the front line to sort of soak up some of my damage. So currently, just from playing and seeing the leaderboard, most users are trending to having 3 to 6 mercenaries in their setup. They seem to be pretty strong, just for some insight there. And let me just grab a enemy here. What this guy is doing is attack damage to all enemies and a chance to reduce their actual damage. So I have a frontline mercenary, 2 mercenaries in the back that are focusing on damage, some heal abilities, and then an actual skill for my hero. So now what I'm going to do is just jump over to the hero tab. I can actually upgrade my hero a fair bit because I have all this gold. So I'm going to go ahead and just upgrade as high as I can go, all the way up to level 27. You can see my stats were boosting here. And then the last thing we'll want to do before we jump in is just go ahead and go to, you can see here in the melt tab, we're already collecting a ton of gear. This is all from the hash power from the momos we rented. And I'm just going to go ahead and equip the gear. So you can see all the best gear equipped, and my stats are already getting upgraded. The last thing we can talk about here is there's also an open marketplace inside the game. So all these items I'm earning, you can actually melt them down, as you can see here, get more rare items, and then turn around and list them on the exchange tab here. And I've actually went ahead and I sold an item last season for 1 Mobox token. And these items aren't too hard to come across. So this is also another built-in earning mechanism of the game there. So that's kind of the outline of the platform. Took you through a little bit of the skills, equipping some heroes, getting some hash power. And now I'll just show you a little bit of the battles here, just to get you some aspects. So this is the leaderboard battle. You can see here all the other heroes. These are other users. And you just want to jump in and you'll just see this auto battle sort of happen. And our heroes will fight theirs. It's very early in the season, so you can see this person has no skills set up. So we're just going to completely destroy them. We got a win there, plus 37 trophies. And so now you can see us starting to gather these trophies and climb the leaderboard. The true leaderboard grind, if you can see here, doesn't start till level 40. So that's just something to keep in mind there. You want to just be grinding until you hit level 40. So we'll just jump into another battle, and then I'll show you a couple of the dungeons here. But since the season just started, it looks like the battlefield is pretty empty right now with just people who are just starting the game. So again, another win here. Nice to kind of get these free points while you can.
So I guess now's like a pretty good time to do the battles like early on.
Exactly. Do the battles while people haven't upgraded, kind of get your trophies high level. I will say the battles aren't going to be too important until you are over level 40. So one way to get level pretty fast is focus on mining. You can actually change these sliders here. You can earn more gold, which will help you level up faster. And then the other thing you can do is grind out these dungeons. So these dungeons are bottomless, they go forever, and they allow you to earn both skill points and gold for each battle. And this is something you can actually just leave on. And there's an auto challenge button. So if you're doing something in the background, you can actually leave on the auto challenge and just have it grind out these dungeons. So that's something that I think is important. We touched on the fact that maybe grinding isn't everyone's cup of tea, kind of sitting here letting these battles go on and watching them. But there's an auto battle function, right? So you can leave this on and let it grind and then come back. And something I was doing is just spending an hour on the game a day. And 20 to 30 minutes of that was more so just upgrading my character than leaving on the auto battle for the remainder of it.
That's pretty cool. How'd you do the auto battle?
Yeah, so let me jump out here. It's as simple as you just have this auto challenge button here. And if you watch, what will happen is we're in the dungeon and it's just going now forward. So you do have to leave the tab open. But if I just leave it and don't touch anything, you can see it finished that dungeon for me. And the animation will go through and it just jumps right into the next one. So this is just going to keep going till you lose, which is pretty cool. And I imagine I won't lose for a little bit today just because there's so much progression for me to do. And yes, I mean, I just kind of wanted to give you an actual overview of the game, see what's going on, touch on the fact that, okay, maybe I didn't earn this first season around, but there's tons of rewards being dished out to users who are actually able to master the game. And really just give you sort of a holistic and beginner introduction to the platform. I'm sure there's probably some people in the recording or on here live actually who will find kind of just a run through of the platform as useful. So I'm just kind of curious of what your thoughts are. My main thing is there's so much avenues for like the actual items and skills of the game.
Yeah, definitely. It's deep. I think you need to really spend some time, like what you've been doing, Greg, like experimenting with all of the different in-game items and stuff like that. I think it's like for sure. I haven't had a look at this in a while, but I think it's super impressive. Definitely keen to get my hands a little bit more dirty and try to like experiment with different combinations of skills and look at how to kind of like accelerate getting up on that leaderboard and stuff like that. Looks super interesting.
Exactly. And the best part about this is only one of the Mobox games. They actually have another one, Token Master, that we won't get into today, but there's lots of options going around on this platform. We even talked about if you don't even want to play the game and maybe you're someone who just likes the NFTs, you could have been someone who lended their Momo out to me and actually earned some passive income as well. So there's tons of different avenues for the game. This is, as you can see, this is the tedious and kind of grind heavy part of the game. I enjoy just popping on the stream, talking to chat while this is going on, but there's so many avenues. And the real thing that it comes down to is sort of min-maxing these skills and really figuring out what the most optimal combination of mercenaries are. Do you want heals? Do you want high damage? Sort of all those different avenues. And I know, Samy, I didn't want to keep you on here all stream as I'm just going to go ahead and battle now. And I'm sure chat has some questions. So I'll open this up to chat. Maybe if anyone has any specific questions for you, we'll give that a few minutes. But Other than that, you are free to jump off. The main sort of thing I wanted to have you on here was touching on the GameFi ecosystem as a whole, because I think that's really excited and where your expertise is showing with what you guys are doing in the ecosystem itself.
Thanks a lot for the invite, Greg. Pleasure to come on. Looking forward to coming on again soon.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
definitely, Sammy. So I'm going to go ahead and kick you off here. It doesn't look like anyone has any specific questions, so I'm going to give you the boot. But I really appreciate you coming on, actually checking out the game, listening a bit to my monologue, just describing the game and seeing what's going on. I'm sure the users enjoyed, and everyone who's watching the recap enjoyed the outlook on GameFi as a whole. There's a ton to be excited for, even if something like Mobox isn't your cup of tea. So without further ado, I will let you sign off here, Sammy. And thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks again. Really appreciate it. See you soon.
Yep. Peace out.
Bye.
Ah, it looks like you just missed him. Idriansa, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Sorry if I butchered that. But you can go ahead and ask me, and I might have a question for that as well. But Sammy actually did a great job. He joined us. What I really thought was important is just the actual stance that Binance Smart Chain community is having towards GameFi. They not only have this or the main thing is they have this ecosystem fund going on, but not only that, it's not something that is kind of being artificially supported by Binance Smart Chain. There's tons of market demand for GameFi, and we're seeing it, right? We saw it in Crypto Blades, we're seeing it in Mobox, even outside of Binance Smart Chain. Axie Infinity, there's no denying that there's tons of demand for that game. Another round we just saw is Aurora raised $100 million for their token. So the fact that Binance Smart Chain has recognized this trend and is putting some of their own resources to bootstrap it is an amazing outlook for Binance Smart Chain. And kind of to steer the discussion, we are on a new season here of the Block Brawler. I gave a small, brief introduction there to Sammy of all the gear and the equipment. I didn't dive too far into smelting gear and leveling up my gear because I didn't want to take too much of his time. I also myself am not 100% sure of what gear is the best. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to throw on some background music. It's nice seeing everyone in here. Feel free to ask any questions. What do you think about the new season? I've decided to stick with my assassin character, and there does seem to be a couple more things that are coming up with this new season. The biggest thing being the Mobox Pass, which seems interesting. Let me throw on some of this non-copyright music because that's what it has to be, unfortunately. Awesome. So we just have some dungeon grind going. What I am going to do here is let's check out this Mobox Pass. So the way this works is at the end of the season, there are some points recalculated and used on this. I ended up getting to level 1, which means I get 2 extra hours of mining time, which means I don't have to check the game as frequently. I get more battles or plunders, so I now have 24 in a day. I get to reset my skill twice, so this is amazing. I can mess up with my skills and still be able to reset them. I could also change my hero if I really wanted to. And then I just get a couple other things, smelting gear bonus and M-Box consumption discount. You can see these only increase with the amount of points you were able to get. Obviously, level 5 being the best. And I do see someone here asking for the secret code. So I will go ahead and throw that up for anyone who is participating in the giveaway. The secret code is going to be Mobox GameFi, and you can see it running on the banner at the bottom of the screen there. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and equip some gear. And I think our main goal at the moment is just trying to get level 40 plus as fast as possible. So you can already see we're earning some points. I'm just going to keep mashing these levels. And yeah, I mean, I think this is all good here. And we'll just hop into, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and grind the dungeon a bit just to get the most gold and efficiency out of these things. How's everyone going? Not sure if you caught the last video of this event, but I unfortunately found myself right outside of the leaderboard, rank 500, and I needed to be rank about 300. So no luck there, but I did learn a lot. I think this skill setup I have is a bit better. Dual reverse shields, and other than that, it's fairly similar to my first setup. So we'll see how this fares in the overall scheme of things. But yeah, didn't end up getting to the leaderboard, but I will be putting out a nice recap article on BSC News, touching a little bit about what I learned and just kind of the earnings breakdown and what I think of the platform overall. So stay tuned for that article. It will be going up later today. And you can also check out last stream's recap, of course. Going to go ahead and fast forward this battle because we know we got the win. No worries, Secret Zone. I do appreciate, though, if you would like the video and subscribe. There's tons of this content coming. That's so close as well, Secret Zone. Rank 430. What do you think of my current skill setup? I'm not sure if you can see it. I have 2 gunfire crocodiles, a rhino mage that is doing reverse shield and also a reverse shield heal, and then the slam ability as well. Yeah, so that's an amazing question, Indriansa. And as for the price of the NFTs, I'm not going to be able to help you out too much there, right? I don't necessarily know if the NFTs will go up or down. Something I have learned is that renting the NFTs can be a bit risky, right? I spent upwards of $200 last season and didn't earn any rewards. So I think the way to do it, and I could be wrong, but if you don't want to take any risk and you want to ensure that you'll be able to play, is just start building out your Momo collection. Unless you have $200, $300 to risk, and you try to really climb the leaderboard. But even then, you need to know what you're doing, have a good idea of the game. So there's 2 things there. One, maybe just rent some really cheap NFTs to begin with, some basic momos, and learn the game. Or 2, just start building out your NFT collection and learn the game as you build out your NFT collection. I'll definitely say there is a time investment here. You need to understand what's going on with the game, actually play it, and optimize your skills. So building your NFT collection while you do that may not be a bad idea. The blue slam, that's interesting. How are you seeing? You didn't say what rank, but I'm assuming they are some sort of a high rank. Rank number what? How are you seeing what skills they're using for their builds? Because that would be a ton of good insight, Secret Zone. And yeah, Indriansa, if you're a beginner, what I would do is just play the platform first. Is this something you can see yourself spending time on? And then just slowly start to build your collection and grind. Where are you seeing this secret zone? I'm curious. Because I'd love to dive into Telegram. Awesome. Is that in the Mobox Telegram or where is that at? Because I can definitely use some help on builds here. Is it possible you can potentially send me what you're looking at, Secret Zone? I don't know if it'll allow you to put a link directly in chat, but if you could maybe send it to my Twitter, that would be a massive help for myself. I'm trying to actually progress here in the future. All right, guys, just attending to a couple things here while this auto battle runs. We have a lot ahead of us this season, and I am going to be out of town this weekend. So we really have to get the grind going, and we may even have a jam-packed episode coming up. Potentially having guests from Mobox, Yield Guild Games, and Binance NFT all at the same event. It's not 100% confirmed, so if you did make it this far into the stream or video, think of that as a slight leak, but keep your eyes peeled. We should be having some more users come join the event. Or, sorry, some more guests come join the event. What have I spent so far on this season? I just rented out 2 Momos. I think I spent about $100 so far. So already just jumping in head first. We'll see how it works out. Is it better to buy a box or directly the Momo? You know, that was a discussion me and some other chatters were having. And I think it really just comes down to your risk appetite. Maybe I would open one box and then buy the other Momos. I personally, just to be 100% transparent, I've just been renting a lot of the Momos. So I'm not too sure about the pricings of those things. Because how much is a box currently about? I know they're a decent investment. I'm actually trying to look on the website right now for what a box is. Yeah, so they're about 183 BUSD. Honestly, I don't have a good answer for you, but I feel like it'd be fun to open a box here on stream since we haven't done that. So once we jump out of this battle, I will open up a box for you, Adriansa, and we'll see what we get, and we can kind of compare it to some other momos on the marketplace. Figure it's about time that we start building out our own NFT collection of momos. Awesome. Let me jump out of this battle here and over to this screen. And I'm going to go ahead and purchase this box. Do you guys know if we need a key to open these as well or no? We'll figure it out. I'm going to go ahead and approve this and purchase, and we'll open up the box. Yeah, Daniel, 2.5% chance of a rare. I don't expect us to get anything good. But Daniel does say 97% chance of something worth $100. So let's see what we get. I'm going to go ahead and buy the box here. We're being some big spenders today, but glad that you guys are all here to see it. Daniel, Limbo, Secret, thanks for sending over that tweet. I will for sure check that out, and hopefully that can help with my build. So I bought the box. I'm seeing it here in my inventory. I'm going to jump up here to the mystery box tab, it looks like, and unlock the box. So let's just look at the math. 50% chance of a common. How much is a common? Let's check out the marketplace. So if I were to buy the cheapest Momo, the cheapest one is 45 BUSD. So if we get a common, we will be losing a significant amount of money, which is a 50% chance. If we get an uncommon, similar scenario, it seems. If we get a unique, similar scenario, it seems. So what I'm seeing is that these boxes may not be worth it unless you get lucky and pull the rare, right? But all of these other Momos, unique, uncommon, and common, they're all very cheap. Oh, wait. What's going on here now? Okay, maybe something wasn't loading there, right? Let me go through this again. So uncommon Momos are 90. Or sorry, common are 90. Uncommon are cheaper. Am I seeing this right, guys? The uncommon Momos are cheaper than the common ones. Seems to be the case for some reason. Let me make sure the filter's right here. Yep. And let's see about unique. I think my marketplace is just having issues loading, to be honest. Let me refresh it here and check the price of a unique, and then we'll jump into the box. Enough stalling from my end. But yeah, that's interesting. It looks like the commons are more expensive. Anyway, I'm going to jump into the box, see what we get. Something is telling me opening the boxes may not be quite worth it, especially if you can find a steal on the marketplace. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and confirm this. Not sure exactly what I'm supposed to be looking for now. Let me see. So it looks like it just went through. I did open it, so maybe I checked my Momos now and I got a new one. Nope. So not quite sure where my box just went. Oh, so now I have a chest. Or Oh, here we go. Let me open this box. It's now loaded in. Going to go ahead and unlock the box. Unlock and stake, it's saying. I'm glad we're going through this. This is a bit of a process. Okay, looks like we're getting the animation now. And we got a uncommon, it looks like. So if I go to my Momos, we got just a very basic Momo, and he is farming, hard at work. So we spent $180 on the box. This Momo is probably worth anywhere from 40 to 100. So definitely didn't make our money back. And yeah, Secret Zone is pointing out that to get an actual set of Momo and get the additional hash power bonus, you do need about 4,000 BUSD. So it is a bit of a significant investment, right? Jumping into this platform and really doing it for the long haul, which is one of the main reasons why currently I'm sticking to renting and just seeing if I can figure out how to land on the Block Brawler leaderboard. So yeah, I did wreck myself for you guys there, unfortunately. But good experiment. We do now have an extra Momo, and you can see him popped up in here. Not giving us much hash power at all, but better than nothing. And to wrap up the stream here, because it is about that time, I'm just going to finish doing some more upgrades there. I'll wait to upgrade my skills just because there's no rush to do that at the moment. And then I'm just going to melt down all of this gear. And something I learned is no gear is important till you reach at least level 60. So something to take note of there. Awesome, guys. So I think I am going to wrap up this stream. Indriansa, don't feel guilty, man. It was a good experience. I'm glad that I went ahead and opened the box as opposed to you. All I ask from you guys is to go ahead and subscribe to the stream, like, and tune back in tomorrow. It really makes the series a lot more enjoyable when I have you guys on here helping me out, playing the game with me. And I'm glad I'm able to show you some aspects of the games that you guys wouldn't necessarily go do on your own. And who knows, maybe we land on the leaderboard. It sounds like Secret Zone sent us a tweet here that should help us with a build path. So that could be really useful. Other than that, guys, I'm going to wrap up this stream here. I'll be back same time tomorrow, and there'll be no guests. So I'm going to jump directly into Brock Brawler, do an hour, maybe an hour and a half of grinding, and we will. Oh, wait, hold up. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We have a bit of a different stream schedule tomorrow. I will be going live here at 1 a.m. UTC on the next day. Let me see what the calendar is. So on Thursday. So if you're in the UTC time zone, technically no stream tomorrow, but there'll be 2 streams on Thursday, one at 1 a.m. UTC and the other one at the normal time at 3 p.m. UTC. So there'll be a small break tomorrow. There'll still be live streams going on here at DeFi Direct. I've just moved the times around. So no difference, same amount of gameplay, just a little bit different time. Thank you everyone for joining in. Please again, like and subscribe, comment any questions you have, and I will be back tomorrow for myself to jump back into this game. So we'll let the grind continue. But until then, peace out, everyone.